Alright, what is up everyone? Darkside Phil here with kind of an impromptu video. I've got a little bit of extra time tonight and I wanted to sit down and give you my honest thoughts on a game that I've been playing for about a week now, but kind of on and off because I haven't had a chance to really just sit down and dedicate tons of time to it recently, at least because there was other new releases that I'm sharing the time frame with. But it is a game that is a direct continuation of a series that I feel last year really kind of just flubbed it. And I think a lot of people this year were completely turned off by last year's release. And because of that, they felt burned. And this year, they felt like they were going to skip out on the franchise. And the game that I'm talking about is Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I'm actually playing on the PlayStation 4. Of course, the other game I'm referencing is Assassin's Creed Unity from 2014, which was a next-gen exclusive. And had so many problems, whether it was the boring characters and the story that was only kind of so-so, the fact that the side content of the game was very repetitive and boring and not very original, the fact that the graphical engine, oh my god, the number one complaint of everyone, the graphical engine in this freaking game, seriously, chugged along, barely ever got to 30 frames per second. When it did, it didn't stay steady. It was really only indoor areas. As soon as you went outside, it would drop to, say, 15 frames. There were entire segments of this game completely and utterly ruined by the graphics plummeting during critical times. And again, for a game that you're selling as a next-gen exclusive, they didn't have a PS3 or Xbox 360 version of that game, and to have those issues was really a letdown. And the fact that they let it be released like that, and they didn't tell anyone that there were these issues. They were just like, well, you know, you deal with it. And I remember there was a big controversy because they didn't let anyone release reviews for the game until the game was already on sale in stores and stuff like that. So that being said, this year a lot of people were skeptical and said, we're going to skip Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which, by the way, originally was called Assassin's Creed Victory. That was like the name of it during development. I don't know why they changed it to Syndicate. I think, like, Victory is a cooler name. I think, like, a lot of people might have checked out the game but it had a cooler name. I don't know, I'm just saying. But massive improvements over Unity. So many. Number one, 2 protagonists, right, that are cool personalities that, even though they're not, so far I've only played the game for some 10 hours or so, and they haven't been super fleshed out, but they've been fun. The fact that they have a kind of a back and forth and a give and take, and the fact that when you play missions, some of them are more geared towards Jacob, who's the more burly brawler combat, while Evie is more of the kind of stealthy girl, right? She's more sneaking around than anything else, and that they have their own fortes. I like that, and I like that there's certain missions that you do that are more catered towards one or the other, and they let you throw you into those missions as those characters, so you can experience some variety in gameplay. All right, the graphics of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, oh my god, did they improve them over last year. And not to say that the game runs at steady 30 frames per second, because I'll be honest, it doesn't. It still doesn't. There's still lots of segments where you're in a super busy street, or you're in a certain area where you're up on top of a building and the whole city's generating in front of you of London, and it will slow down, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was in Assassin's Creed Unity, and I haven't had one instance yet where this has affected my gameplay at all. I've been able to smoothly kind of play through the entire game and not have an issue. So in that regard, awesome. And there's the location, London. Oh my god. To be able to be in London, you know, it's almost modern. It's only, you know, what, 150 years ago when this game takes place. So you're seeing all these landmarks in fucking London with this amazing detail and so much, you know, nicer than previous Assassin's Creed games. Big thumbs up there to the graphics. With the maneuverability, wow. I mean, huge improvement. Just number one, they have a grappling hook now a la Batman. And boy, you can now grapple up the buildings instantly. You can go between the buildings. And it makes travel in this game so much less of a tedious chore. In previous Assassin's Creed games, always, the one thing that was kind of tedious was, well, there's missions all the fucking way over here. And I can fast travel if I've unlocked a fast travel point, but if you didn't, well, time to waste 10 minutes going from point A to point B, tediously going from building to building, and sometimes they'd have the dubious, oh, there's a strange tree that just happened to grow between these 2 big buildings that are too far apart for you to leap from, and it was obvious it was placed there as something so that you could do easy parkour. Now you don't have those issues anymore, because the grappling hook is like zoop, 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 and you get across the city. And I know some people will complain about the grappling hook and said it's too overpowered, it changes the gameplay. Listen, how many Assassin's Creeds have we played now? It's time for some real advancement, and the grappling hook is exactly what they needed to get this game moving and feeling more fast-paced, which it does. Now, I'm going to be honest with everyone. One of my biggest things that I love about this game is going to be one of my biggest complaints, alright? So let me explain. One of the biggest things I like so far about Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the side content. Unlike the side content of all the other previous Assassin's Creeds, it's not meaningless. It's not just like, do this generic thing, and because you did the generic thing, you gained money and or notoriety or whatever. No, there's actual side missions in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Not to say that those aren't in there, because the repetitive ones are in here, but the Dickens and Darwin missions, the Charles Dickens missions where you're hunting down paranormal phenomena and 90% of the time you're basically proving that they're false, but there's some kind of a cool twist behind it. Someone was trying to fool someone or something. Those are friggin' awesome. It's like playing a mystery game tied in with Assassin's Creed gameplay. The missions with, I forget his name, but he's basically Professor Layton and his little, Luke. They're basically in the game. That's not them. These are the historical figures that those characters were based off of. But to do those murder mysteries, right? Really cool. It breaks up the monotony of just doing the constant Assassin's typical repetitive stuff. It's a lot of fun. It adds to the game to do these murder mysteries. You almost feel like you're doing Scooby-Doo, right? But here's the thing, and this is what I didn't realize until I started playing the game. Here we go. Those dreadful crime missions are a PlayStation exclusive. So if you didn't buy this on PlayStation 4, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because it's not in your version of the game. If you didn't buy the day one version, okay, I guess there's a day one edition of this game or whatever, that had the code to get certain DLC missions, you're not experiencing all the stuff that I'm talking about. They're not in the game. So, what they basically did, they took all this cool new side content. They said, we're going to make this game better than Unity by far. We're going to add in all these new, fun, original side content missions that have stories to them rather than just being repetitive crap. Oh, but you can only get them if you get it on a certain console, if you pre-ordered the game, if you bought the day one version. So, basically, if you rented this game on Xbox One in 2 weeks, you got half the content. Huh? Like, what? That's fucked up. I said so in my playthrough. During my playthrough in the commentary, I'm like, this is fucked up. Like, is this how there's going to be from now on? You have to buy the day one $60 version on the right console and pre-order with the right retailer, because if you didn't, you won't get all the great content of the game. Like, no, bullshit. Anyone who plays Assassin's Creed Syndicate should be playing the same fucking game. You shouldn't have little snippets here given to this guy and snippets given to this person and snippets given to this girl because they did this pre-order, this special fucking thing. Why are you making the consumer, the gamer, jump through hoops to get the best version of the game? Ubisoft did it again. They fucked up. Last year, they released an inferior game that should never have been sold. This year, they released an awesome game, but they basically fucked everyone by making it so piecemeal for you to be able to get the awesome things. Now, I lucked out. I totally lucked out. I had no clue that these missions were PlayStation 4 exclusive. I had none. So, I would have never played them and not been none the wiser unless I got it on PlayStation 4. Same thing with this, Dickens and Darwin missions. I don't know anything about that. I didn't know that I was going to get exclusive content if I pre-ordered or bought the day one edition. I just got it. So I kind of lucked out. But what if I didn't and now I get fucked? So now they're telling me if I didn't have any Charles Dickens missions, none of the murder mystery missions, some of the things that I think are the best in the game, all I'd be able to do are Child Liberation, which is repetitive, kill the Templars, repetitive, do a street fight, repetitive, and the generic other things like what do they call them? Underground fights, like hand-to-hand fights, and kart races. All the most generic stuff from Assassin's Creed, basically. The good stuff is exclusive to how you got the game. Bullshit. And I just don't agree with that practice at all. I think it's horrendous bullshit. It's horseshit. I don't think that anyone should put up with it. I really don't. I don't think that anyone should be supporting that practice, right? And how have I not heard about this? Why have I not heard in the media that why are they doing this to the customer? I've heard no one say this at all. Almost like it's a non-issue or no one even fucking knows that it's happening. And I'm like, bullshit, right? A great game, but a great game because I lucked out? That's not fair to everyone. So I have to warn everyone, if you're going to play this game, play the PlayStation 4 version, buy it. Because if you just rent it, you're missing out on two critical things that you're not going to get, and you're going to get fucked. And that's garbage. That's complete and utter garbage. And I guarantee you that you probably could buy these later. I'm sure if you buy the season pass, maybe then you get it, right? That's what it is. It's all it is. They want to nickel and dime you. So you bought the game for $60, but you didn't get the cool side mission. Well, give us another $30 for the season pass, then you'll get everything. Enough of this. Seriously. When I buy the game at launch day, I want all the fucking content. I don't want this garbage anymore. The bottom line is this. The game studios have not, in this day and age, 2015, have not found a way to get your business every year anymore. At one point, 5 years ago, it was a different scenario. There were far less games. There were far more AAA games to choose from. And let's face it, indie games also weren't as prevalent. Now, indie games get a lot of notoriety where back then they didn't. They didn't get a lot of exposure or whatever, right? So now they're finding it's harder to sell a game like this. So, well, we'll sell it, but then if you want the full experience, we're going to charge you more and more and more, because they're thinking, here's a continuous revenue stream for us with almost minimal effort, right? We sold them 60, but if they liked it, they're definitely going to spend the next 30, and it's bullshit. And every time I go to GameStop, they push that shit down my throat, too. And I said, no, I'm not buying the season pass on day one. I didn't even fucking play the game yet to know if I fucking like it. Why am I an idiot who's going to buy the fucking season pass? I have to be a dumb fuck. And I'm not going to do it. And I don't like the way that that's going. I don't. I want the full game experience on day one. I don't want to have to do 40 billion unlocks in the game to get all the content. I don't have to buy the specific version of the game or pre-order it to get the content. And I certainly don't want to have to spend a $30 to $40 fucking season pass to get all the content. This game is good. I like it way more than Unity, and I'm looking forward to playing it more, which I will be doing shortly, for those who are wondering. But I don't agree with the underhanded, shady business practices of Ubisoft, and they're doing it yet again, and I had to talk about it. Alright, so that's it for my initial thoughts here on Assassin's Creed Syndicate. As I continue on with the playthrough, eventually I will do a full review of it with video footage of the game or whatever. This was just impromptu tonight because I had some extra time. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll check out the rest of my playthrough, and I'll see you later. Peace out, everybody.